What's up, my people? IB Douglas here. You are welcome to another beautiful Saturday. So, today is a very special one. No, I'm not getting married, guys. Relax. So, yeah, I'm going to be showing you guys in CorelDraw how to create a very beautiful marriage academy poster. By the way, if you are new to this channel, you are highly welcome. Do well to hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so you'll be updated on the new videos that I'll be dropping in the future. And also check the description below so you could catch up with the previous poster breakdown design series I have done. All right, so without wasting much of your time, let's get straight to the full gist. Yeah. So today I'm going to be doing something different from what I did in the previous video. I'm going to be showing the layers of this design. So I know I mentioned it last time that it's easier to drag and drop your elements and easily arrange them and all that on CorelDraw. You don't need to start checking for layers. But I know I did mention that a layers panel actually exists on CorelDraw, right? So that's what I'm going to do so that we won't end up spending so much time in this tutorial. And I'll still be showing you some things that would also create from scratch on how to achieve some things. All right, so when this brief was given to me, right, and I understood that the target audience was for singles, right, just to prepare singles for what's to come in marriage and to also help them find their missing link. I was like, okay, cool. First and foremost, I know that it's both male and female, so it's not just streamlined to females. So I said, cool. So I'm going to make use of the colors, this kind of pinkish red color and blue, right? It's kind of like a gradient, right? I said, okay, cool. So I'm going to use those two colors. Now, what was coming to my mind was the illustration. So I was like, okay, what illustration can I use to actually get this thing done? Normally what I was seeing on Pinterest and online, I wasn't really seeing so much, but the things I was seeing I wasn't really too okay with that image or with the image. I was seeing graduation cap, I was seeing people in school or in a class, so I'll just say boy and girl. So I was like, okay, I know that this is for singles, right? What illustration would best describe two people who are planning to get married, who are preparing for marriage, and they are coming to this academic class? What would actually drag singles right to this class? So I started just checking images, and I asked ChatGPT, what illustrations do you think would best suit or describe this? And it gave all sorts of options. One of them that struck me and I said, this is it, was like, it said young couples holding their, I won't say couples, but singles who are dating, holding hands and walking together in a sunset. So he gave that illustration there. Okay, instead of me actually putting the full image of these people walking down on the sunset holding each other's hands, why not just put two hands, a male and a female hand holding each other? I think that would actually pass the message of a boy and a girl preparing for marriage as singles, right? And that was how I came up with that illustration. And then the rest is history. So I'm going to just walk you through it. I'm sorry I had to take the time to explain that, but I felt I needed to explain the reason why I used that illustration before we start breaking it down. I'm going to my objects panel. By the way, if you want to activate this objects panel on CorelDraw, this is like the layers section, right, on CorelDraw. Photoshop by default is there because that's what we work with. For CorelDraw, it's not there by default, so you need to activate it because, like I said, you can easily drag and drop your designs on any element on CorelDraw. So you just go to Windows, you go to Dockers, and you see objects here. Just click on objects. If I click on this now, it goes out. If I come back, go to Dockers, click on it, it comes back. So this is the object section where I can see all my layers. It shows me all the pages actually. So this is page 1, page 2, every page that is existing in the document, that is it. So this is page 1, I have page 2, I have page 3. So it shows me everything. So we're going to be focusing on page 3. I'm going to break down this layer. Okay, so we have everything here. If I turn off one, just like Photoshop, you see that one has gone off and everything. So I'm just going to turn off everything and we're going to start from the scratch. I'm going to select and hold down this, hold my shift down. Let me turn on my kiwi so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I just held my shift. So this is what I did. I just clicked one, held my shift key and clicked on the last layer and just turned off the stuff. So everything now is black. So starting from scratch. Okay, so to turn this on, now I'm going to explain everything that I did here. So this is like a pattern that I do most times on my designs. I just pick out, this is like the color palette on the design. Okay, this is like the color palette on the design. I'm going to bring this out. It's very simple. Just carry your rectangle or your rectangle shape. Very simple thing. Carry your rectangle shape and you create. So you just draw very simple stuff. You just draw this and you slant it. Click again, you slant it, you duplicate. Right, so you could duplicate, you just bring it down, bring all of them down, arrange it properly, and you keep duplicating. Just Ctrl+, Ctrl+V. Sorry, I'm using my trackpad, so just arrange everything and then you duplicate, still arrange. So that's just what I did here, so it's nothing too serious. But the reason why I did that was just to show the color palettes that I used on my design. So that's how to create it. And next thing we did, so that's it for these two guys. I've explained this. So this one is like a pattern, right? This is like a pattern. So I downloaded like a doodle heart shape kind of illustration. I just downloaded a doodle heart shape. I searched for doodle heart shapes, right? Because like I said, it's a marriage academic class, so it's something that has to symbolize, something relating to marriage and relationships. So that's why I used that pattern. And then I just downloaded two heart shapes. I duplicated them. I merged them together, right? I merged them together. If you want to know how to like merge two things together on CorelDraw, let me just show you what it is. I'm just going to do like a simple shape here, go here, and we'll create another one here. It's like a triangle. Going to remove the outline. So these are two separate shapes, right? Now if you want to merge them together to form another shape, I'm going to create an ice cream cone now. So this is like an ice cream cone literally. Let me mirror this. This will be better placed here. Good. This will be better placed here. Now if I want these two shapes, these are separate shapes, right? These are separate shapes. If I want these two shapes to become one, right, I just select all of them together and I go to this option here, weld. General shortcut for it, is W, right? So just click on W and you see that these two shapes now become one. So this is how you actually weld or join or merge two shapes together to become one shape. So that's what I did for this. I merged these two, just duplicated it here, I mirrored it. If you want to mirror, this is our mirror section, right? Mirror vertically, mirror horizontally. Yeah, so that's just what I did. I mirrored it and then I added my gradient, right? So that is it. So that's how I did that stuff. I'm just going to undo and take us back to this illustration. So that's it for that. Next thing is this hand. Now this is an illustrative hand. So I generated this hand with on ChatGPT. Don't worry, all the elements used in this design are already on the resource folder. So check the resource folder link in the description below to access all the assets that were used on this design, including the fonts too. Yeah, so everything is there. So I generated this image of two hands, a male and female hand holding each other, and all that. I generated it with image FX, but I got the prompt from ChatGPT, so I just used that prompt, generated an image. That's how I got this image. So just put it there. And I know you might now be asking, okay, how did I get this portion? How did I make this portion a different color from this? Relax, no rush, I will explain. But before I get there, the font choice that was used, I'm going to explain the reason why I used this font. This is actually like a mini, will I say semi-customized? Yeah, just semi-customized. So the font I actually used for this particular topic is Against, right? So this is how I'm going to duplicate this. So I'll show you guys what I did here. So marriage, okay. This is how the font is by default, okay. Now, if you want to make it look like this, because I actually customized it a little bit, I just customized it. Now, there are some fonts that have there are some fonts that have glyphs, right? Every font has glyphs. When we're talking about glyphs, we're talking about individual letters or numbers or symbols that are attached to a typeface. But there are some fonts that comes with special kinds of variations, right? That could make it very interesting. Now, if you want to be able to activate such variations on CorelDraw, you go to the properties panel. Okay, this same properties panel is activated on your Dockers. You go to Dockers, go to alternate, enter. That's the shortcut, right? You go to the properties panel. So once you type whichever font you have, go to the properties panel. All right, this is it. And you see this section here. This is the section where you would see, like, if a particular typeface has some, different effects or some different variations you can add to it. So you could see all these gray areas. It means that this particular typeface, right, doesn't have these options, but it has this one, okay. And it says standard ligature. So once I click it, you see that it gives me this kind of look. So you could see it now. But if there are some fonts that might not have this option, but they might have this one, they might have this one, they might have this one. So just for you to explore, whenever you are using a typeface, there are some typefaces that come with different variations. So for you to explore that, you go to your properties panel when you've used that typeface and see if any of these ones are not grayed out. So anyone that is not grayed out, check it out and see what it looks. You might see that instead of you having to go and change or merge different fonts, you can actually just bring out a different variation of that same font. Yeah. So that's what I discovered. So that's why I did this. I said, okay, let's make it like this. And this actually, like, explains the whole marriage kind of thing, male and female coming together. So you see, like, the A and R, linked to each other, like as if they are one. You see the A and G linked to each other like they are one. So it explains the marriage concept. And the reason why I used this font, which is a serif font, is because it talks about class. When we're talking about marriage, it's something that is beautiful. It's something that is classy. It's something that is, it's a premium and elegant kind of feel. It's a very beautiful and exciting thing. So, I mean, a serif font is the best font to use, but it's not just all serif fonts that would go. So that's why I felt this would actually make sense, since I explored it and I saw it had this variation. All right, so I've explained too much about it. So that's what I did here. So for the eye, I just broke it apart first and foremost. This is what I did. I broke it apart. What I did was I duplicated, right? So, well, I broke it apart first. This and this. What I did here was, after I broke it apart, I converted this guy to curves. So I hit my Control Q, convert to curves, and then I created this diamond shape. Now, it's very, very easy to create a diamond shape on CorelDraw. You could actually just create an element, bring an element, You just download a diamond shape online and put it, or you could take it from an existing font if any font has that, or you could just create it on your own. So I'm just going to create one quickly. So just duplicate it, bring it here, duplicate these guys, bring it here, and you see this negative space here is my font. So is my diamond shape. So I'm going to click on my fill mesh tool, my control shortcut for that, or my shortcut for this alternate M. But you come here, come to this panel section, look for smart fill. Okay, so once you just select that smart fill, you see it shows already that there's like a color here. You just click in that negative space and you see that automatically it creates an entire new shape. Okay, so that's how I created that diamond and then brought it here. The reason why I created diamond and I wanted to use it, it's to, it's like the source on this font. I was like, this thing is looking too boring. So I said, let me just, remove this guy and replace it with a diamond. The diamond will actually go well. There's a black outline to it, so let me just remove it by right-clicking on my color panel. Just going to bring this here to make sure that this is, let's put my eye here, and I'm going to remove the circle. I'll click on my shape tool and then click and drag this guy because I just want to remove the circle. Then I'm going to adjust this a little bit with my eye, zoom it out, adjust this a little bit with my eyes, just to make sure that it's not too much. Yeah, so that was what I did. So after I'd done that, you know that this ligature stuff had already gone out. So very simple, this is what I did. I just deleted this and then I used this existing one, typed my R, same thing here, deleted this, used this existing letter, typed my G, and then I just arranged the spacing, just arranged everything properly. So back and done. That's how I actually customized this font. And then this one that I did here was font that I use Australian signature because it's in badges, right? So this is like another badge. I said instead of me using this same font, I needed something that would actually stand out so people could actually look at it too, aside from just looking at the entire topic or the theme of the design. So I used this font, Australian signature, very sweet signature font. And then I used like a brush stroke. This is like a customized brush stroke because I gave it a gradient color. The element is also in the resources folder, so you see it. Just rotated it, I added this, rotated everything, and that was how I achieved that. Okay. By the way, let me know what you think about this tutorial so far by dropping a comment below if you think this is actually interesting. All right, so we're done with this. So the next thing in our objects panel is this shape. So this was like a shape that I had to like customize. This is actually a rectangle shape. I'm going to bring it out. Yeah, I'm going to bring it out. This was what I did. So because I knew that, let me delete this. Let me just show you how this was going to look. So this was how it was going to be, right, from the first instance. But I was like, I need to put something here so that I wanted to use white as my font. And I needed to put something here that, would still invoke this kind of marriage academy stuff. So I came up with a concept of just customizing a rectangle to do that. Very simple, right? So this is what I did. I just drew my rectangle to cover up this particular portion here. We're going to do that, very simple. Remove my outline, I'm going to hold my shift key, make sure it's straight. And then I converted this to curves and held my shift key in my shape tool. Just double click here to create a node. And then I just brought it down, right? So I had to power clip it inside the design. So if I power clip it inside the design, press on my other control page down, I move it back. You see that I've actually given myself I've done like a customized thing. So I'm just adding a color. So now you could see that there are some parts here. So you don't need to be scared. So you just hold your shift key, hold your shape, click on your shape tool, sorry, and you just start making some adjustments. Start making some adjustments. So you're just going to cover that particular portion of the design. You don't need to start making all these basic straights. That one nobody needs to know. So this is what, that's how I was able to create that stuff. So I did that and I gave this kind of gradient red color. That's what I did here. And for the elements, this is the element I used. It's like a heart shape kind of background that I had to rotate. Sorry, you might think it's white, but because of the blend mode that I use. So if I click on my transparent tool, it's on overlay 24%. That is what I use to be able to blend this with the background, and then I rotated it a bit. But if I take it to its normal position or its normal form, this is it. So the original image, it's not black and white, but I had to convert it to black and white. The image is also in the resource folder. I just rotated it a bit because I wanted some parts of this. I wanted it to be like this. If I had left it the same way, this is how it is. So no, I just wanted to rotate. So some parts of this would be placed the way I wanted it. So that was how I achieved that. So I guess we're done with this, and I've also explained this. I've explained everything here. This background, it's a paper pattern or a paper texture. Yeah, downloaded this from, I think I downloaded it from, is it Pinterest or FreePic? I've forgotten, but you shall find it in the resource folder. So I just added that. I didn't want it to be just plain white, so just power clicked that. That's like my background before I started adding the solar elements. So we are done with this, okay? And yeah, that's it. So the next thing here we are going to put here is this. So this is like the church logo, presents, the font I use here, Clash Display. That's also what I use for the body, which you're going to be seeing soon. This is like my date and time. All these ones are very simple. Just add this, change the color, add this, change color. So I'm just going to be ungrouping. I say ungrouping, moving the visibility. Okay, so let me just explain. So this is still the same brush tool, the same font I used here. I needed it to be easily noted. So I could have used the same Clash Display, but it wouldn't really make sense. For contrast sake, that's why I had to use like that script font here for this orientation will be held, because people can easily like take note of that and would read it, because it's different from the normal font that's used on the body. Okay, so the reason why I had to actually break these guys down was because I think I wanted to give, because I wrote this down like as one text, and then I said I had to break it apart by using Ctrl K, so I could give this 5 p.m. a different color and give this stroke a different color. So that's what I did here. Okay, so sorry, let me just quickly so you guys could see. So just remember, this one is like the details of the design, the address. Now this particular part here, sorry, I'm not doing this like I'm not arranging this chronology. You know, the way I just dragged and dropped, that's the way it's just arranged in this panel section. So bear with me if there are some things you wanted to see first that you haven't seen, but don't worry, we'll get to that. Okay, so I had to increase the tracking of this particular write-up so that people could also pay attention to it. So normally if I would just write it like that, people would see it too, but you know, just same thing for contrast. You know, sometimes you don't necessarily need to write everything, especially when it comes to some certain things you want people to take note of, right? So for something like this, it's compulsory for all symbols. Writing it normally would be good, but it would be better if you make it different. Making it different would actually make people to take note of it first. right? It will call their attention to it. So that's why I had to increase the tracking of it. I made all of them in uppercase, and then I gave it that red color, because red on a white background, it will easily grab your attention, and then it contrasts with the blue color pattern below. So that is why I did it. Okay, so this other one, I think this is just the same thing. I just duplicated and then I added the other details. Same brush tool, same thing here. Now, this is the thing we've been looking for. I'm literally coming to the end. So I'm going to explain how I did this, okay? This is what I did. Now, when I got this kind of illustration, I was like, how am I going to put this stuff and the time? Writing it normally on these spaces here, it would be okay, but I said no, it won't really look interesting. I said the best option to do this is to actually like write it on the path of the hands, and it's going to make it, these are actually important points in the design, which is when the class is going to be holding and also the time is going to hold. So I was like, people need to see this thing. People will see it if I arrange it in its normal form, flush left, flush right. But I said I need to make this thing interesting around the illustration. So this is what I did. It's not hard. You go to your freehand tool, right? You just create the part that you want the text to take shape. Click on your shape tool and you can make some adjustments. I'm just making some adjustments here. Just remove this guy, make some adjustments. So we're going to create one now. I'm just going to make this place curve a little bit, like I said. So I'm creating a path for my text, okay? I'm just going to duplicate this, mirror this the other way, and move it to this section. And then I click on my shape tool, which is F10. I just placed my space bar to go back to it because that was the previous tool I just used. So I'm just going to arrange this here. I'm trying to like create that path for this. Okay, I'm going to curve this a little bit, and yeah, I created my path. Okay, so I'm going to remove these guys. Let's just duplicate. Since we are already done, let's just duplicate this design. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. And let's go to this. Bring out our text here. Now, I know it has already taken its shape from the previous part I created, but you can also change this back to normal. So this is what you do. When you're selecting your text, you go to text here and you go straight in text. So it gets back to its normal form. Same thing for this, 5 p.m. Come here, straight in text, it gets back to its normal form. So now I want this 5 p.m. to take this shape. I want this one to take this shape. So this is what you do. You select your font. Let's come out of this panel because we are done with the layer section. Come here, you hold your shift key and also select this part. Then you come to your text here and it says fit text to part. So you go to fix text to part and then you can just move it. Now it's going to move according to the path you've already created, right? You can even take it up if you want to take it up. And take it down. I know you'll be asking it's upside down, but I'm going to rotate it so it's simple. Because of where I positioned it before, if I place it on top, it will be different, but you don't need to worry about that. So once I bring it here, I come to this my mirroring section here. I'll just mirror it, change it here. I brought it down. So just bring it down here. You see that I have gotten my 5 p.m. prompt. Okay, now because I fit this particular text to this path, they are together. So if I move it, if I click out and come here and I move it, you see how it's coming. I can even still move these two together, but I don't want to do that. I want to separate it completely, and I don't want to be moving this and I'm done with what I'm doing, right? So I just want to separate it. So I select it, I click on Control K. Same way you can break your text apart with the same Control K, that's the same we can also break apart to something like this. Okay, so I've broken it apart, and then now I can freely move my 5 p.m. prompt, and I can delete this guy. So you see how it has taken sort of the shape of the hand. So same thing for this. Let's take this up now. This one is a bit long, so it gave me some little shaking, but I had to calm down to properly adjust the line, which is the path, so everything would fit in because it's a bit longer. And yeah, so hold this, come to my text, and I'll do fit text to path. So you see that I didn't need to mirror that stuff because it's placed above the path, okay, unlike this other one. So you see, this is actually like perfectly done. I don't think I even need to do anything except my head is shaking. Don't mind me, guys, I'm just kidding. So yeah, this is perfectly done. So what I just need to do is, while I'm still selecting this, just click on Ctrl K to break it apart, select my line. You move it to see whether you've selected it or not. So I select my line, delete it here. I know that this is a little bit outside my margin, so I'm just going to bring it down a little bit so it will still be within the margin. And yeah, this is how I was able to create this particular part. So you see, it's a little bit different from what I did in the original design because the path is a bit different. Some lines were a bit curved, unlike this other ones. This one's so that's how you create it. So we have come to the end of this video, but there's something I want to show you guys which I couldn't show in the previous video last week. Whenever I finish a design, just like on Photoshop, whenever I finish my design on Photoshop, I always use my camera raw to bring out the effects and the crispiness of the design. Now for CorelDraw, what I do on CorelDraw is well, because I love the camera on Photoshop, I still take my CorelDraw design to Photoshop when I'm done to add the crispiness and all that. I know that CorelDraw has that option where you could actually do it, but I'm not gonna lie, I've not tried it before, which I'm sure I'm going to learn that very soon. Being open now to you guys. Yeah, I know they hide anything. So I've not tried it before, but I'm definitely going to try it, and I'm going to show you guys how that is done. I know that it's possible to still add all those effects and all that on CorelDraw, but what I use or what I know is Photoshop. So I'll show you what I know. Once I learn that one, I'm still going to show you guys, so stay tuned. Okay, so this design is already saved. I'm just going to go to my resource folder. Let me go to my results folder. My Photoshop is open already. Okay, so I'm just going to click and drag, or yeah, just going to click and drag, open it here on Photoshop. So I've already done some effects here, right? So I've already done some effects. So let's just go here and save this one that doesn't have any effect at all. I'm going to export this, Control E, save as PNG, please. Just go marriage, any folder. I don't need to waste so much time. This particular section here, if you are doing for print, 300, that's for your resolution, but for digital we use 72, you understand? But if you didn't use too much illustrations, just leave it on 300. But if you use images, heavy images on your design, best at 72. Okay, so just leave it. I know this would actually reduce it, so 106 kilobytes, that's actually very poor. So, and you can see how the quality is. So I always leave it at 300, except I used heavy images on my design, then I'll have to reduce it to 72, which will still maintain the quality because of the high-res images on the design. So leave it here, okay, and I'll go to my downloads. I think I saved that on my downloads. Okay, so I'm going to carry this design, I'm going to drag and drop it here. Let's open a new tab. So before I enter my camera roll, I must convert this to a smart object. So shift control, or you just select here and go to smart object. This is a customized shortcut, by the way. And shift control A will take me to my camera raw section. So this is where I do my magic. So first thing I'm going to do is to add my noise, or we call this the grain effect. I'm gonna add, I'm not gonna make this too much. I'm gonna do this. It's giving me some green lines here, so I'm just gonna reduce this a little bit. Gonna reduce this a little bit. I don't think I really need to add so much here anymore. Everything here is like perfect, except I just want to play around. So I don't need to do anything. I've added my grains. I don't need to do too much effects. I don't need to do too much this thing. So yeah, just play around with your camera roll. You don't need to like fixate yourself on whichever value that I use. It's for you to just explore and see what works for you. So do that. So you could actually see that there's a little bit different between this, and it brings out the effect and the crispiness of the design, and then we export. And don't need to change anything here except you want to increase your scale. So 3.2 is good. This 1080 by 1350 portrait size for Instagram. 3.2 is a good size. If you want to make it bigger, depending on the size, the more you increase the scale, the more the size of the design is. Take it to 200 if you want to, and you would actually see this. So, but I always leave it at, I always leave it at maybe 100, but if it's below 3 point something MB, I always try to increase the size and all that. So this is 8.9, very good quality and all that. You don't need to make any other change here, and then just click on export. Okay, so we have come to the end of the video. So that's actually how I work hand in hand with CorelDraw and Photoshop. If I design with CorelDraw, I export to Photoshop to use camera raw. If I design with Photoshop, I do everything there. Right, let me know what you think in the comment section if you found this video helpful. If you also have some questions, if you have or contributions you'd also want to make, feel free to drop it in the comment section as well. Right? If you are still yet to subscribe to this channel, please do well to subscribe. It will be very helpful if you subscribe, so that the YouTube algorithm, and also when you turn on your post notifications, so that the YouTube algorithm would also keep recommending this channel to creatives. Also do well to like this video, do well to also share this video with a designer today, and I'll be seeing you guys next Saturday. Thank you so much, my people, and peace.